سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. القول مني في جميع الأشياء قول آل محمد. فيما أسروا وما أعلنوا وفيما بلغني عنهم وفيما لم يبلغني. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate our dear Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman and the believing men and women for the remembrance of the birth of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. In this auspicious event, a certain point that I want to make regarding the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, I won't take long inshallah, and it is that the Quran has focused on maintaining etiquette with the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, maintaining a certain level of mannerisms while speaking to the Prophet, while interacting with the Prophet, while having a relationship with the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. This is very important as he is the greatest of Allah's creation. So it is very certain that Allah will have certain guidelines of how to talk to the Holy Prophet, how to converse with him, how to treat him, how to maintain a relationship with this great figure who we mention every day in our prayers, who we mention usually when we do the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And your prime example which shows us the importance of this is the verse Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا ترفعوا أصواتكم فوق صوت النبي ولا تجهروا له بالقول كجهر بعضكم لبعض أن تحبط أعمالكم وأنتم لا تشعرون. O you who believe, do not raise your voices above the voice of the Holy Prophet, and do not speak to him in a manner to which you speak to each other, lest your deeds become void. Shows us the importance that if we even raise our voices above the voice of the Holy Prophet, to raise our voice in the presence of the Holy Prophet, our deeds, our years of salah, our years of fasting, our years of hajj, zakat, khums, all of these actions are void the moment we raise our voices above the voice of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. So it shows us the importance of maintaining an etiquette with the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. Now, of these forms of etiquette to maintain with the Holy Prophet is not to hurt the Prophet. And it has many different ways and variations. When we look into the Quran, it says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ عَذَابًا مُهِينًا. Those who hurt the Prophet, those who hurt Allah and the Prophet, hurting the Prophet is the way of hurting Allah, Allah curses them. They become kicked out from the mercy of Allah in this dunya, in the hereafter, and Allah has prepared for them a punishment in the hellfire. Those who hurt the Prophet. Now, there are many ways of which the Prophet can be hurt, but I'll look at 5 ways, 2 of which are applicable in general, and the last ones are more applicable to our time, inshallah. Looking at the first one is the physical hurt. Hurting the Prophet physically. We do not have this in our time, but back before, they used to hurt the Prophet during the time of Jahiliyyah. They used to not let the Prophet walk in the streets of Mecca without throwing stones at him. If he was to pray near the Kaaba, they would throw the insides of the camel on top of the Holy Prophet while he was in sujood. They attempted to kill the Prophet many times throughout his life, even after Medina, and even towards the end of his life, they attempted to hurt the Prophet physically. This is very evident and very obvious, to hurt the Prophet physically. Another way is to hurt the Prophet verbally. And this is broken down into 2 different categories. The first one is pretty obvious, to insult the Prophet. Like we have some during the time of Jahiliyyah would write poetry, where they would insult the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, within those lines of poetry. They would insult the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. As in, you have the poetry that Yazid recites, لعبت هاشم بالملك. That wasn't written by Yazid. That was written by the people of Jahiliyyah that would recite poetry insulting the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. And you even have after the life of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, such as a man known as the name of Al-Thatha. This person was during the time of Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam. This man was known to write poetry in insulting the Holy Prophet. It's even mentioned in Ibn Hajar Asqalani's book of history. He would write poetry to insult the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. However, if you go to Sahih Bukhari, you will find him as a person who is reliable within their chains of narration, and Bukhari takes from his narrations. However, you wouldn't find a single narration in Sahih Bukhari from Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam. But a man such as he, who used to write poetry insulting the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, Bukhari takes from. But with Imam As-Sadiq, they say that Al-Bukhari was very hesitant regarding Imam As-Sadiq, regarding some of the things he said, so he wouldn't take. But from a man who publicly insults the Holy Prophet through his poetry, they take from. Shows you the levels that they operate at. Another form of insulting the Holy Prophet verbally is to attribute to him lies, to attribute to him things that he done which he did not do, which consequently ruins the image of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. And there are many examples, and the way which you understand these examples is look at the West. How they, to a certain level, have painted the image of the Holy Prophet. We have what happened in France a time ago. We have what happens in Poland. The way our Holy Prophet is placed, is imagined, very insulting. But when you go and ask them, why do you paint the Prophet with such a picture? They'll tell you, we'll go to your books. And you can't blame them. You go to the Muslim books in general, you see most of them are insulting towards the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. They have in their books some stuff that I cannot even mention in the presence of the house of Imam al-Hussein. Of them that I can mention is that the Prophet, when he would get angry, he would curse and he would swear and he will use foul language against the person he is angry at. And then when his wife would remind him that, why are you saying this? He would tell her, oh, this is my form of mercy. So when I swear at someone and when I use a foul tongue and use foul language against someone, it is a form of mercy. Is this our Holy Prophet? Or when they paint the Holy Prophet in such an image that is perverted, that is disrespectful, that the Prophet would urinate standing up, that the Prophet would forget in his salah, that the Prophet would commit all sorts of sins. You cannot blame the West for painting such an image of the Holy Prophet, because it stems from the Muslim books, where they place lies and fabrications in the name of the greatest of Allah's creation, Muhammad. So that is a very important point. And what we can do to counteract this point, which hurts the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, is to clarify these things. Whenever someone wants to mention this, instead of turning to violence like some of the other Muslims do, and hurt them and attack and kill, no. You clarify. You use your knowledge. You use the power of your tongue in the right way, to invite to the path of Allah with wisdom, to show them that this isn't our Prophet. Our Prophet isn't the one who in certain books of the Muslims wanted to commit suicide when he heard that he was a prophet. This isn't our Prophet. This is a fabrication. This is a lie. clarify this, because this is something that hurts the Prophet, is insulting to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, where they tarnish his image, and then the West will come and tell you, well, look, I'm not getting this from my own pocket, I'm getting this from your books. That's where it becomes dangerous. Moving on to the other way which we may hurt the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, which is more applicable to ourselves, is linked to a status of the Holy Prophet, which is known as the status of witness, where the Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ. Say, do, act, for God will see what you do, and His Prophet, the Holy Prophet, sees our actions, what we do, how we act, how our relationship with Allah is, with our parents, in general. The Holy Prophet sees this. You have Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, where one of his companions, where he says, peace be upon salamullah alayhi, he says, مَا لَكُمْ تَسُوءُونَ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ. He tells his companions, this is 100 years or more after the Holy Prophet, he tells his companions, why do you insult the Holy Prophet? The companions, they are flabbergasted. They say, oh, son of Rasulullah, how would we insult the Holy Prophet? How would we pay any form of insult towards him? To which the Imam turns to them and says, أَمَا تَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّ أَعْمَالَكُمْ تُعْرَضْ عَلَيْهِ فَإِذَا رَأَى فِيهَا مَعْصِيَةً سَاءَهُ ذَلِكَ. He says, do not you know that every week your Prophet sees your deeds, sees your actions, and when he sees any form of disobedience to Allah, this will hurt the Holy Prophet. So do not hurt the Holy Prophet, but make him happy. Give him happiness when he sees your deeds, when he sees your a'mal and what you do. Make sure that it is far away from disobeying Allah. Because when he sees part of his ummah in disobedience to Allah and he sees these actions, what does it say? It hurts the Holy Prophet. This is one of the forms of hurting towards the Holy Prophet. Another form is to hurt the Holy Prophet's reputation as being his follower through your akhlaq, through your behavior, through the way that you present yourself within society. You can cause a damage to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. Where Sulaiman ibn Mahran, he says, دخلت على الصادق وعنده نفر من الشيعة فسمعته وهو يقول. This man says that I entered and Imam al-Sadiq was with his Shia, and I heard him say, معاشر الشيعة كونوا لنا زينا ولا تكونوا علينا شينا قولوا للناس حسنا واحفظوا ألسنتكم وكفوها عن الفضول وقبيح القول. Imam al-Sadiq tells his Shia, he says, be good for us, be a good representation of us, and do not be a negative representation of us. Say what is correct. Hold your tongue and stay away from anything that is negative. This shows, and especially in today's day where we live in these Western countries, we are under the microscope, and the enemy works hard to make sure that the reputation of the Holy Prophet is destroyed. So when you have observers from the West and enemies trying to tarnish the name of Rasulullah, your role becomes critical. Your role becomes very important to maintain, which is what? To be a positive reflection upon Rasulullah Muhammad. Because the enemy, like I said, is trying to destroy anything that the Holy Prophet stood for. Anything that is related to our morals and our values and our aqeedah is being attempted to be destroyed. Starting from our generation and those younger, a lot of work has been put in to distract the youth. A lot of work has been put in to enter misconceptions for the youth, to destroy them from their faith, to destroy them from their moral compass. what becomes your obligation then is to become a good representation. So when someone sees you, he sees that this person is from the followers of the Holy Prophet, a true Muslim, a true believer, a true follower of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And the last one, which I will end with, which is a way to hurt the Prophet that we should stay away from, is disobeying the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. As we know, مَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولَ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Anything the Prophet brings you, you take. And anything he forbids you from, you stay away from. There are no two ways about it. The Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن يكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل ضلالا مبينا. It is not for the decision of the believing men and women when Allah and His Prophet decree a matter to have any other say in the matter. And whoever does, then he has gone far astray. Do we disobey the Holy Prophet? You have certain Muslims, unfortunately, they do disobey the Holy Prophet. When the Holy Prophet tells them to hold on to the Quran and to his family, the Ahlul Bayt, they disobeyed that order. In our day-to-day lives, have we observed, do we disobey the Holy Prophet more than we do obey him? Because that hurts the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. And as we know, whoever hurts the Holy Prophet is exiled from the mercy of Allah in this world, in the hereafter, and has been prepared on the day of judgment a punishment of eternal hellfire. So we look at these 5 different ways to hurt the Prophet, and we learn to stay away from, to learn to go against hurting the Prophet, but to please our Holy Prophet with our actions, with defending him, with being a good representation for him, with obeying him, and with defending him and honoring his message and honoring his character. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج والعافية والنصر واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه ومن شيعته ومحبيه وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد.